Hey guys, it's Sensibility here, and if you are new to my channel, my name is Amber Marie, and I am on a perfume journey to find perfumes that I believe are the best of the best, either in a spray, an oil, an attar, or a bakul. From my previous videos, you will see that I have started to declutter. I have found a lot of my holy grail fragrances on this journey so far. So, with that said, that allows me to be able to eliminate other fragrances that I didn't believe were the holy grail. So, yes. So I have been decluttering, and mainly another reason why I have been decluttering is because I have had the opportunity to try out several different perfume oil companies and their quality, how their perfume oils match up to the brand name sprays, and so forth. So I have learned that the quality in the perfume oils is just as good as what's in the perfume spray that you would buy from the brand name company, or if not better. A lot of times they're stronger. So that is another reason why I have been decluttering, is to obviously reduce the number of spray bottles I have. Prior to purchasing perfume oils, I had already acquired a large amount of perfume spray bottles. So now that I know their quality is good, I don't really need to hold on to the perfume spray bottle. So if anybody is interested in my decluttering, I will be posting those on my Bakhoor webpage. Just give me time. I am going through them now. I will not be decluttering everything, but if there is a dupe for it, or if it comes in a perfume oil and it's something that I feel I can let the bottle go, I will definitely do that. That's not to say that the spray bottle was bad. No, it's just I have so many fragrances that I rather own them in a perfume oil and know that I can take my time when it comes to making them into a spray. So if it's something that I didn't really favor too much, I have put them in the declutter pile, so there is going to be more added to that. I have started to pull some more from the spring, and then of course I've been plucking at my winter. And the last big thing that I have a whole rack, or a whole shelf on a rack full of my Zara perfumes that I need to go through. I know that is one of those companies that they don't have the perfume oils in it, but I'm going to try and reduce it down and just pick the ones that are the most mouth-watering to me. And then the other ones, I will obviously be selling those on Bakhoor. But that's not what this video is about. So if anybody needs my Bakhoor page or anything like that, put it down in the comments section down below, and I will send you the link. But today's video is going to be about bakul. I had a subscriber contact me, and she told me that she quite enjoyed the video that I did on bakul. Honestly, I wasn't sure if everybody was feeling it because I didn't get too many comments from it and so forth. But she watched my bakul burner, and she said that she quite enjoyed it, that there's not too many videos on YouTube about them. The ones that I have seen as far as how to make the bakul are obviously in a different language than mine. Not even sure what language they are speaking, because so many of the Middle Eastern cultures use bakul for different purposes. Obviously, the whole thing about it is it's going to set your home. It does have a fragrance to it that will resonate throughout your home, and I will tell you, it's the best fragrance home incense thing ever. Like, you can smell it days later. So I will say that. I'm going to go over everything again. So this is just going to be an all-in-one type video. I'm going to talk about the products that you need if you're going to burn your bakul, and the pros and cons about burning versus the electric burner. So, obviously, if you're going to do the traditional way of doing bakul is on charcoal and in a charcoal-based incense burner. So, I didn't like the concept as far as the charcoal incense burner goes because it's an open and it just like, maybe I'm just over paranoid, but the fear of it getting knocked over, and it's literally something that can, if it gets knocked over, it will burn your house down. Obviously, the coal will fall out, and if it's just a nicely lit burner, or a nicely lit charcoal, it's probably gonna burn your house down. It's gonna set something on fire. Let's just put it that way. So I found a soapstone, which is right here. And you can use these. This is one that has a closed lid. You can see that I used it at one time. This is actually one of those ones where you turn it upside down and you can put the stick incense like these in there. The big long sticks are meant to go in here. And what happens is you put it on top of your bowl like that, stick your stick in there, and all the ashes fall down in there, supposedly. That did not work for me. Ashes were actually getting outside of the bowl. But it's kind of like a universal one. Let's put it that way. So it's, to me, I've been able to see it as a 3-in-1. So this particular one sticks. They also have those little cones or those little spiral incense that don't have the stick in them, that you would actually put down in the bottom. Here, let me get this out. You would set it down in the bottom. Now, if you want to actually put charcoal in here, it's best to put some sand. You can get some sand from the dollar store in one of those small little bags for $1. Put some in there and then set your charcoal on top of it. And it does go through the lid like this just fine. So your incense, the fragrance and the smoke from the charcoal, all of it will come out of the top. This does not stop it. So you do want to look for something that has vent holes on the top if you are wanting a closed concept like this. Again, this was not intended for charcoal, but it can be used for charcoal. You just have to put sand in the bottom, because if not, this is going to get super, super hot. So the sand helps absorb the heat from the charcoal. Now, one thing that I did notice when I was just setting the charcoal on top of the sand was it was getting very dirty, and I had to replace the sand continuously. So what I did to prevent that is I got one of my metal measuring cups. I think it was like the 1/4 of the 1/3 cup. And I would set that on top of the sand, put the charcoal inside of the measuring cup. So all the burntness of it was left in the metal, I'm losing it today. The metal measuring cup. So it's all contained in there. It was a lot easier to do it that way. It seemed like it burned a little better that way, because all of that was contained into the measuring cup, and it only burnt what was in the measuring cup. So I did like that method much, much better. Other people have talked about using a Mecca plate. So if you're going to do it the way I used to do it, you need to put sand in here, go to your local Walmart, Target, wherever it is. You're going to pick up a, like just a little metal measuring cup. They usually sell them in a pack. You get like the half of a cup, that kind of thing. So it's in one of those. I rarely ever use that one, so it wasn't a big deal. I think it was the 1/3 of a cup. Set that on top of your sand, and then put your charcoal in there. So I'm going to show you what type of charcoal I was using, and I'm going to tell you which one that they actually recommend. So I bought a box of them like this. Most people know what these are. You can use these in hookahs. If you've never tried hookah, you should definitely try it. I went to an Egyptian hookah place and loved it. But this is what they look like. So these are the, I believe, medium size. And they have the dip in them where you can put, this is where you would put your bakul, right in that ridge right there. I don't know if you guys can see it. Yeah. So, measuring cup, charcoal goes in there, bakul goes on top. Now, these little bad puppies burn really, really quick. And if you're doing any with like sugar base, it starts to stick really bad to the bakul or to the charcoal, so you have to end up getting another piece of charcoal out, lighting it, and setting it on top of the one. It's kind of like you're sandwiching the bakul in between them to get it to burn more effectively. And I noticed they burned really, really quickly. So a lot of people said that the coconut ones are better. They're more expensive. They're about $20 a box, but they're supposed to burn slower. And I would almost think that I would just recommend go with the coconut, not these ones, because these burn too fast and it like burns up your bakul too much. And you get more smoke in the house than you do fragrance. So just a DIY. If anybody is wanting to do it the traditional way, go with the coconut charcoal burners instead of the regular one. And again, mine were size medium. Okay, so what is a downfall to doing it the traditional way? Okay, so when I used to do it this way, I would get a whole lot of smoke in the house, in the upper part of my house, to the point where once or twice the smoke detector went off. So I wasn't comfy with that, because it was like I got to enjoy the scent of the bakul for a short moment, but then what was left behind was a lot of that smoky smell. And I was getting tired of it. You know, it was just like everything was getting very hazy, and it just, yes. And obviously a bakul, when you're working with bakul, you want to do it indoors. I mean, you could do it outside if you were doing more of a ceremonial type thing, where in some cultures they use a bakul not to scent. It's more of a purification thing, where you're cleansing the bad spirits away, or the negativity away, kind of like what other cultures do with like resins, with paleo santo, I think that's what it's called, sage. All of those different elements, or different types of elements, are used to either scent your home, or to clear away the negativity, or any of that that may be in your environment, attached to you, so forth. So in that case, it would be okay to do it outside, and only in that case would I recommend you do the charcoal kind, because it is very smoky. I could not believe how smoky my house was getting, but I continued to keep doing it for a while there, because I just really loved the smell of it. So in the beginning, when I started this journey, I bought several different types of bakul. Yes, there is several different forms of bakul. Like I said, bakul has two type of meanings to it. It's either something that you use to purify yourself, or it's going to be something that in other Middle Eastern cultures use to scent their home. So obviously, if you're using this to scent your home, you probably wouldn't want to use the charcoal because it gets your house too smoky. This gets extremely, extremely hot. And a lot of times I found myself having to mess with it a lot of times to get it to burn evenly. I used to go through lighters like crazy. Like, if you're going to do this, you need to make sure you've got a refillable lighter because you are going to be refilling that lighter like crazy. You're going to have tons of smoke in your house. You don't want to open the windows because the scent is inside of the smoke. And let's see what else. Oh, and then there's the potential of people getting burns or you accidentally setting your house on fire if a open one gets knocked over. Of course, a closed one, it could still happen. The charcoal could fall out. There's just a lot of maintenance that comes with this, and you have to fiddle with it with a lot. And yes, but I want to be honest with you. I want to let you guys know some people will prefer to do it that way, and that's totally up to you. If you're used to doing it that way, then just make sure you get the coconut charcoals instead of just the regular charcoals, because you want something that's going to burn your bakul at a slower pace, because then you get more of the fragrance than using the ones like I did, and it was literally just burning the charcoal or burning the bakul so quickly that I wasn't really, the fragrance came and went very quickly. So now I kind of actually still use this. I love soapstone, so I washed it the best I could. So yes, this is actually a clean version. And what you see in here that I pulled out was the remnants from my electric burner. So I'm going to show you what it looks like when it's done. So you can see right there and right there, it didn't burn it. If I turn this upside down and stick it back in there upside down, it will, but... And there is a little bit of fragrance left in there. But most of the time, I just don't mess with it. That's about 3 to 4 hours on the bakul burner electric. So now I'm going to talk to you about some of the bakuls you that are more, I think, burn better in one of these than in the electric. So, and then there's going to be some that you can do in either one. Let's see what products I have here. So the first one I don't have in front of me is the tiny little wood chippy. You can find them on eBay, things like that. They're fine little wood chips. I have one here, and I'm going to show you what non-fine looks like. Okay, so if you see chunks of wood like this in there, that is not the fine pieces that I'm talking about. So those fine little wood, it's like a jar full, and literally some of them come with even spoons that you can spin them out. Those fine little wood ones are best in an electric burner, not in the charcoal burner one, because it burns the wood up too quickly. So for those that are wanting to do the wood chips in the charcoal, you will need to get pieces that are this big or bigger. So traditionally they would burn big pieces of arga wood, which is also known as wood chips. So for the gentlemen that are watching, if you're wanting a masculine smell, you will need to purchase at least this size or bigger of wood chips. Now this is covered in sugar, and I was going to show it later, but this is kind of what oud looks like, but they come in bigger pieces. Now the one company that I know off the top of my head that has really, really good like oud chips from what I've seen is Alfaranzi's website. If you go to the incense section, He's got really good, reasonably priced oud chips. And that's another reason why I recommend the coconut over the charcoal, because you want to be able to enjoy that oud. Oud wood pieces are not cheap. You pay for what you get, and you don't want it to burn up quickly. You want it to resonate that, oh my goodness, awesome oudy smell throughout your house. And they also sell like resin, and you can find the mecha plates on Offa Ramsey's website, because a lot of people recommend that you do a charcoal mecha plate, then a bakul, to kind of help mediate or kind of make your burning experience more even. So, ladies, if you are wanting more of a feminine smell, I would highly recommend you go with something like this. The sugar pieces in here, that's what these are. So currently, what is in this lovely jar here is another type of bakul, and this is what I consider half wood, half sugar. Whereas the little wood chips are just going to be pure wood with, and it should be little pieces of oud, finely grinded up oud, not in the sense of a powder, but it's just small, like splintered type wood. And they usually put a fragrance oil on there so they scent it. It gets soaked, and all that wood, that little oud chips, not only have oud as its base fragrance in there, they give it something to go with the oud to kind of make it more of a perfumery type thing. This one is different. This one has a mixture of sugar and oud chips. So what they did is they actually cooked the sugar on the stove almost to the point of rock candy. You can see this is very hard. It's like crystallized, guys. Once the sugar got to the temperature that it needed to be, typically they would add in a fragrance oil. And when I say they add in, I added in my concoction about 40 ml. So you need a decent amount of fragrance. This is something that they tend to splurge in the fragrance oil. They tend to put a lot in there because I don't want to say you want your stuff swimming in it, but you don't want to go cheap on your fragrance oil, because that is essentially the smell that's going to linger behind. So, I put in 40. I thought that was a little too much. So I would say somewhere in between 20 and 30 mLs would be perfect. And then you put that inside of the sugar once it's got to this consistency that it needs to be at. So then they would mix that into the sugar. And then the last thing they would do, once they get it to temp, they shut the heat off. Put your fragrance oil in there, stir it up. And then they buy these in packs, and they just mix the wood chips in with the, again, these should be oud or sandalwood chips. And they mix those in there, and they pour it in a metal baking pan. They even, to make sure that the sugar doesn't stick to the pan, they will take a little bit of their perfume oil. Say this is my perfume oil. And it's kind of like you coat the pan with the perfume oil. Then they'll take the whole entire mixture that has sugar, fragrance oil, something like this that's dumped in there, mixed. You should start smelling in your oud chips. And they're going to pour it into the metal pan. And essentially that sits, it gets hard. And eventually what happens is they can pop it out. And it breaks up into all these little funky pieces. So this was something that they probably did on a big sheet. It got broken up and divided into jars. And there you go. So at one time, this was a very smooth, round, could have been square, I don't know. But they break it up into chunks, and there you go. I think this one was my favorite one. It smells so good. But I can't use these things or the bigger pieces of oud chip in my electric burner. It does not do it. It's too big. This needs to be something that's over a little more heat than what the electric burner gives. But as far as like these sugary chunks, I'll be able to use those. So I'm just going to save these out of my containers and call it a day. So if you are looking for some bakul for charcoal or the coconut charcoals, this is one type that I recommend that you can use on the charcoal, but I do recommend that you use a mecha plate for that, which is the regulator, the heat regulator plate. It almost looks like a piece of glass, but then you stick your bakul on top of it. Sounds like a lot of work, yes. Okay, if you don't want to purchase the mecha plate and all that, I have some other products for you. Here is an easy drop and go type thing. They smell absolutely beautiful, but I feel like you will, if you're a big like scent person like me and you like your house smelling good all the time, you will end up spending a lot of money using this, but they smell good. Now here is something else. I recommend these on charcoal. You can use these right here. I'm going to open it up, show you what they look like. They're kind of pre-made squares. Let me see if I can get one out. See, oh, they smell so good. Now these can also be done on the charcoal, but I don't know if you guys can see it. See how they're, ooh, crap. It's okay. So there's two of them there. You break off one and you put it on your charcoal. So these can also be burnt on your charcoal, but the fragrance is not as strong as it is an electric burner. So the electric burner actually makes the fragrance of this a lot better. It's a lot stronger on the electric than it is on the charcoal, but this is still a product that you can use on charcoal, and eventually it will burn down into kind of like a sawdust. So there is that. Okay, there. Just had to pick that up so the dogs wouldn't eat it. But that is another thing that you can burn on the charcoal. So on the charcoal you can have half sugar, half wood chunks in there, but just a quick, reminder that if you put too much sugar like this in there, it kind of like snuffs out your charcoal, so you may have to sandwich it. So just go easy on it when you do it. On that one, this one, just expect that the fragrance is not going to be as strong as it would be in the electric. And then of course you have these ones right here. They're called dahoop, which is customary in Indian cultures, and these are more of the traditional ceremonial type scents that they like to use to kind of fragrance, but they're also used to when they pray and stuff like that. So I picked these up at my local Indian shop, and they're called dahoop because in India they are not allowed to burn incense that have bamboo in them. And believe it or not, the big long sticks, the sticks that the incense is rolled on is actually a bamboo stick. So they use dahoop. And as you can see right here, I paid $1.99 for it. Now, they're not as good of a smell as some of these other bakuls, but these are more of the traditional scents that you would smell in Indian culture. And it's the same as these particular kind right here. When you put these on charcoal, they lose a lot of their fragrance, and they're much stronger in the electric. So let me go ahead and put this back in its box. I done dropped it all over the place. So, for those that are wondering, you know, where can I, if you're looking to buy these, you can buy these on eBay. They're like $7 to $10 for them. They come, I think, with like 12 little squares in there. Not much, honestly, but they are pretty strong fragrances. And a lot of these particular ones are replicas for, actually, they have perfumes in them. So if you like the perfume and you know you like it, you could probably get it in this type of bakul. Let me show you guys the name of the... But I bought these off of eBay. They came at a reasonable price. This is the Shams Emirat. A lot of people recommended this one to me. So I still have not used it yet. But this one comes in a perfume. Oud 24 comes in a perfume. And this one is a perfume. They even sell them in perfume oil. So if you really like the smell, like I love the smell of this one. This is gorgeous. I'm actually going to get it in the roller ball. But, like I said, these are much, much stronger in the electric versus the charcoal. So everything smells much, much better in the electric because it's not, you can gauge the temperature. So that is all of the recommendations that I have for charcoal. Make sure if you can find a charcoal burner that has a cover, even better, safety reasons. Just helps reduce the potential of a fire. And then, of course, I highly recommend you get tongs. Now, since I've moved away from that, like I said, I simply use this one to store the old unused bakul in it that I pretty much burnt. So, I've talked about that. Once I get much lower on what I have made, I will use this in my bakul burner or in the electric. But because it's so much sugar, I'm going to have to mix it in with sandalwood, because with the electric, you don't want to make it just like super sugary because it like bubbles and stuff like that, and it makes it really hard to get out. So anything you use in your bakul burner that's an electric one that plugs in needs to have some type of like wood powder mixed in with it, something that gives it a little bit of a drier form, but it can still have sugar in it. It's just, you don't want it to be like gooey. You want it to be kind of half and half. So let's see, so I showed you these two, I believe. Yes. This one is absolutely divine. So I love the smell of that. I am holding on to these because they're already fragranted. So when I run out of what bakul I have, which I will show you guys, I have a massive bottle. I will use those as a fragrant. Okay, so let's talk about the electric bakul burner that I have. For those that are new to my channel and they happen to stumble across this. So I got this bad puppy off of eBay. I've showed it on my channel before, and the ladies must have loved it because it's straight sold out. So you will have to keep your eye. You may not be able to get this exact same one, but they do have other ones out there that have lids. So I really like the lid because if you have small kids, yes, the top gets hot, but it's not as hot as if they stuck their finger in there and they burnt it. So this particular bakul burner has a little drawer down here where tongs go. So I leave my tongs down here. A lot of times I don't use it, but sometimes I do. You can see that I've been using it to kind of put the stuff in there if it's hot. So I'm going to show you what is in here. So typically your bakul burner, your electric, will come with a little petri dish like this. This particular burner can do wax, it can do fragrance oils, it can do bakul, it can burn resin, it can do a lot of stuff that even your wax warmers can't do. So right now I have it kind of packed with my stuff. And then of course, when I got the previous stuff out that fell on the floor, some of it broke, so I put it in there. So while I'm talking to you, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to turn it on. And I'm going to try and show you guys what it looks like when it gets all going. But let me show you the bottle that I have. So I have a huge mason jar full of it. It's just trial and error. I had some fine wood chips that I was trying to burn on the charcoal. Didn't know any better that it actually hurts it. So I ended up creating something that can work on both the charcoal and the electric. But it actually, everything smells so much better in the electric. You know, once you find something that works better, it's kind of hard to go back to the old traditional way, because my house isn't getting all smoky. I don't have smoke detectors going off, and the smell is much, much stronger. And I love walking. Okay, so mine is located upstairs. I love walking upstairs. My husband always says he can't smell it. I smell it every time. It like hits me. And it's from the moment I get to the top of my steps, I can smell it upstairs, and it just smells amazing. I think maybe my husband's just got immune to it. I really know what it smells like, so I smell it in the house days later. Usually when I'm sitting down doing homework, I'll have one going, because there's just something very therapeutic and very beautiful about the smell. Now, that is going to be, when you're shopping for bakul, that's going to be the most important thing, is what smell do you like? And unfortunately, the only way you're going to figure it out is through trial and error. So, yes. So, from my own experience, I've learned that the small little wood chips, something like this, or something like this, is going to be your best for your electric burner. Now, they don't sell nothing like this. I'm gonna, at the very end of this, I know this is gonna be a very long video, I'm gonna quickly tell you how you can make this at home in a mixing bowl, and it's just gonna be so easy. You will thank me later for it. You can't screw it up. But yes, so I'm gonna show you guys on the electric burner. And this is something you want to be looking for on your electric burner. It has a temp gauge. So where it is right now, it's all the way up. So I can turn it down extremely low, which I would recommend if you're doing like a fragrance oil in there. You can put that in there, let it simmer. I know a lot of people have like perfume oils. Yes, you could put some in there, let it simmer, and fragrant your house that way. Obviously, you would want that down on low, because fragrances by themselves are sensitive to heat. Whereas when it's mixed into something like mine, which has wood powder in it, wood chips, sugar, fragrance, it doesn't, you want to crank it up so it cooks it all, like dries it all out. So it turns into the little black chunk that I showed you. It's just essentially cooking all of the fragrance out of it. And then let it cool down. That little piece will pop right out of there, and you just throw it in the trash and do it again. So this one has a 1 hour, 2 hour, there's 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour, 4 hour. So usually I was doing it at 4, but it's actually burning just fine at 3. So I'm all about saving electricity. So just set it to 3, crank it high. I've done turned it on now. So it should start heating up. So like I said, these are perfect in the electric bakul burner. If you don't feel like you're going to be crafty and you really don't want to mess with that, you can order these off of eBay. And I'll show you again. They come in different scents. They're about $7 a piece. They've got a lot to pick from. And if you are looking for a more traditional Middle Eastern fragrance, I would highly recommend you go and hit up your local Indian store. Also, at that local Indian store, you should be able to find powdered sandalwood. Oud powder is really hard to get a hold of, and it's pretty pricey. So the recipe I'm going to give you here in just a few minutes is actually going to be a sandalwood one. Your oud is going to come from the fine little wood chips. So how did I make my bakul? What is the easiest way to do it if you are not like all chemist-like where you like to mix things? So the first thing I would recommend that you pick up is something like this that is already fragranted. These are really safe to go with, and I would recommend you pick up two of them, because you're going to break this whole entire thing up, and you're just going to break it up into small little pieces to almost like a powder. You're going to mush it. This is going to be your cheat. This is going to be your fragrance, and this is the best way to do it. This is how I'll be doing it in the future. So this is going to be your fragrance. Easy to do. You don't have to mess with, oh, did I add enough fragrance to it? Did I add enough fragrance oil to it? If you do it this way, you'll be fine. So 2 packs. And if you look at the back of it, it already has oud powder. It has the musk, the sandalwood powder, and then your perfume sugar. You can actually see my bakul burner starting to go up. So it actually saves you a little bit of money because, like I said, oud powder is really, really expensive. But you will still need to get some of the sandalwood powder. So you're going to get a mixing bowl. You're going to break this stuff up. Pick whatever scent you think sounds good to you. Break it up. You're going to need 2 packs of it. Then after you do that, you're going to add some sugar in there. And I'm talking like the white sugar. Not no sugar-free stuff. You got to get the real sugar. And you're going to mix that in there. So now you have this all broken down with some white sugar. Start off with a cup. But remember, your ratio needs to be more of this and your sandalwood powder than it is sugar. So you can buy a 200, I think it's like a 200 gram box of sandalwood powder off eBay, or you shouldn't be paying no more than $10 for it, for a box of 200 grams of sandalwood powder. You want powder. So you need 1 box of that. You would need 2 of these little square things right here, preferably. If you want to have it where it has a little more oud smell into it, pick up 1 jar of, ooh, well, that really messes with it. Because you're going to distort your smell. Yeah. It should still be fine, but pick up 1 jar of the finely loose wood chips if you want that in there. If you don't, that's fine. These will give you enough fragrance as is. So these 2 packs, I keep repeating myself and I'm sorry. 2 packs of these, you're going to need 1 box of the sandalwood powder, and then you will make it where if you put the whole pack of sandalwood powder in there, so it's going to be 2 to 1. So if the box of sandalwood powder ends up being 2 cups of sandalwood powder, you want 1 cup of sugar. You're going to mix that shit together. Just mix it all together, get it nice and good. And then put it in a jar. That's how easy it is. Mine has little fine wood chips in there. That was what I first started with, and then of course I added in fragrance oils, but you don't need to do all that because you can cheat and use one of these and they smell so damn good. Like what does this remind me of? Almost like a tobacco vanilla, something like that. It's kind of gourmandish. It smells really good, and you can actually go on Frantica because they make these in perfume oils. You can actually get the notes of what this brand, and let me show you the brand again, the name. It's right there. It's Ard. Don't put trading in. Just put in, I believe if you just type, ooh, let me get that. Okay, there you go. If you just type that in on Frantica, it should pull it up. It's going to show you the perfume oils or the perfume bottles. Either way, they make it in Bakhoor, and that should help you be able to find which ones. Now, the ones that I have right now is the Bakul Oud 24 Hours. This is absolutely gorgeous. I recommend that one. This one smells pretty good too. This is the Bakul Malachite 24 Hours. And then the last one that everybody raved about. This is what the front of it looks like. Of course, I can't read the language, so this is what it's called. Bakul. And it's called Shams Amarat. Now, these tend to be feminine fragrances. So, gentlemen, that's why I say stick to either pure oud, which you can't do pure oud in the electric Bakhoor burner. It's just too big of a piece. You have to do it on charcoal. So, guys, if you want to make something, you would not add sugar to yours because the sugar gives it a sweetness, unless you like that. My recommendation for you, if you're wanting to make a Bakhoor for a gentleman, you would get something like this. They do have masculine ones. Get a fragrance like this that is masculine, and I would recommend you get 2 packs like you do with the feminine version, and you would mix it with your sandalwood, and that's it. The sugar in mine gives it like a burnt sugar smell, almost like Aquilina pink sugar, but it has more than just that pink sugar smell to it. It actually has a perfume smell to it. So, there you go, guys. Woo! Now, if you're wanting to make more of a traditional type smell, you do the same thing. You would get your box of this. Again, this is called Da Hoop. You would crumble this all up into little pieces, and depending on if you want it sweet or not, that will let you know to add the sugar. So break up 2 boxes of this and put sandalwood in there, sandalwood powder. That's a give. It's your choice from there if you want to add the sugar or not. Again, it gives it a little bit of a sweetness there, but that is 3 different ways you can make this. The traditional way, smell. So then you're making something that can be used during prayer time to purify the air in a more customary way. And I do believe these are all made with the same thing. For the most part, they should be made with, okay, so this is made with essential oils, resin, flowers, rare herbs, myrrh, frankincense. So it really smells like Middle Eastern fragrances. So just 2 boxes of one crumbled up with sandalwood. It's going to smell beautiful in your electric burner. Feminine version, you're going to have this. You're going to pick one that's feminine, and you're going to mix it with sandalwood. So 2 boxes of this, 1 whole box of sandalwood, and the sugar is optional. If you do it, you want to make sure it's a 2-to-1 ratio. More sandalwood versus sugar. Guys, same thing. You're going to pick a masculine one. If you don't want the sweetness, you're just going to mix it in with sandalwood. If you do want the sweetness, it's going to be a 2-in-1. There you go, guys. I hope I have answered every question possible about Bakhoor. I know this was a long video, but there is a lot that I've had to learn about Bakhoor, and there has been a lot of trial and errors, and I'm going to tell you, the electric burner is the best way to go. And it's mainly because it gives you more versatility as far as what products you put in there. because you don't just have to put bakul in there. You could take something like this and turn your burner down low and let it simmer, and it's going to smell absolutely stunning. As you can see here from my camera, that is about all the smoke you get. The charcoal, literally, this whole area would be like a cloud right now. It burns that bad. Now, I don't know about the coconut ones, if they produce a lot of smoke versus the regular traditional charcoal. So that's totally up for you to try. So if anybody has any questions about this, because I believe this is going to be the last video that I do on bakul, unless someone requests that I do another one focusing on something else. I still want to do an actual physical video, but it's really not that hard to make bakul. It's all about grinding it up and making it into, you can kind of see it, that it's just like a little powder. And that's it. You don't want to overfill your bowl that you have in your electric burner. Same for your charcoal. You just want to put enough in the center where it dips down, and you're good to go. So with that said, I hope you guys have enjoyed checking out this video all about bakul, from charcoal to electric, which one I think is better, pros and cons, how to make it, so forth. Whew, this is a long video. I like to talk, but this was a lot of talking. So if you're new to my channel and you stumbled onto this, and this is your kind of thing, or you're curious about it, I definitely have a couple other videos that you can check into it. And if you're just into scents in general, I highly recommend you subscribe to my channel. If you enjoyed watching this extra long video, definitely give it a thumbs up. And as always, guys, definitely click on the bell button and it will let you know when I post a new video. And then as far as the description goes, I will put down in the description as soon as I have time the I don't know what you call it, the recipe for it, the DIY easy recipe. You can also just hit the rewind button. I am pretty repetitive, that way you don't have to go in there and write everything down. So there you have it, guys. Thanks for watching. Bye.